Who is alive right now that makes you question, how are they not dead yet? Dick Van Dyke. I'm not rooting on him to die. I'm just amazed he's lived as long as he has. Henry Kissinger. Iggy Pop. He did an interview about 20 years ago where he said he couldn't believe he was still alive because of his earlier very heavy drug use. David Bowie definitely helped him survive and thrive. 20 years later, he's still alive and still creating music. Ozzy fucking Osbourne. Need I say more? Keith Richards and Keith Hernandez. The stories from either of them make me think that deals with the devil are real lol. Edit. Keep the jokes coming. I love them. And yes, Keith Hernandez of MLB fame. He surprises me. Not on the same level as Richards, but still surprises me nonetheless because of how bad his usage was that he was as good as he was, and was traded for almost nothing because of his addictions. In the 80s, literally a time where cocaine was everywhere, and this guy's habits crossed the line lol. My dad drinks 8 Monsters a day and never drinks water. Chews tobacco. Smokes and also drinks Coke, so there's that. What just isn't worth the risk nowadays anymore and why? Escalating any arguments with strangers or even escalating anything while driving. Working yourself to death. Work on separating your work life and normal life. When I leave work, I don't check emails, text, call about work. Nothing. Road rage. Just not worth responding to anything while driving. Ignore them and stay away. Make no gestures and just ignore them. Flying on a tight schedule. The airlines are not functioning well anymore. I think COVID really damaged air travel. Variable rate mortgages. Fist fights. Healthcare is expensive. A lot of people are armed anymore. Also, the legal repercussions are harsh these days. It is best to check your ego and pride and walk away. What's an incredible fact that most people don't know about? The Amazon River is over 4,000 miles long and doesn't have any bridges that cross it. If your intestines are in the way during abdominal surgery, standard procedure is to scoop them out and dump them in a bowl for the duration. Then basically pour them back in when you're done. As long as you don't pull enough to create an actual knot, the guts will wiggle themselves back into exactly the same shape and configuration they had before being disturbed. Sharks predate trees. WD-40 removes road tar from your car. The softest wood in the world is considered a hardwood. The weirdest animal in the world is the jellyfish called the Portuguese man-o'-war, also called a bluebottle in Australia. It gives birth via a process called budding, where a new animal just sort of pops off a random place on the jelly. But it doesn't give birth to whole other jellyfish. It gives birth to many different types of animal-like creatures called zooids. They live on the bottom of the jelly, live independently from each other, but can't survive without the others. For instance, there's a zooid that can digest fish, but can't catch them. There's a tentacle zooid that can catch fish, but can't digest them. There are also several other zooids like that. Scientists have been scratching their heads about how to classify this creature, and are calling it a colony rather than an animal. And that leads to an interesting question. What is the organism? Is it the zooid? Because it moves around independently, but can't really survive very long on its own? Or is it the whole jellyfish? In which case the zooids are a bit like organs, except for the fact that they might go for a walk occasionally? And if you say that the whole jellyfish is the organism, maybe bees aren't an organism either, but a beehive is? That's the problem with classification systems. As soon as you make one, along comes some weird example that makes you have to start again. What food do you get called weird for not liking? Beer. I'm from Germany. Beer counts as food. I live in California and don't like avocados. I'm one of 7. I hated soda as a kid because of the carbonation and got teased a bit. Now I hate it because it's too sweet. And everyone says they wish they had the same habit, so I guess I got the last laugh. I take the frosting off cupcakes. I always give it to someone so I'm not entirely hated. Coffee. I was so surprised how weird people got when I said I don't drink it and I prefer tea. Poutine. My fellow Canadians find this unacceptable. What is something from your childhood that no longer exists now? Yelling, "Somebody get the phone." Wendy's salad bar. Cool spoons from cereal boxes. Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. I miss the color changing in straw ones. KB Toys. Saturday morning cartoons. When MTV actually played music. What is a situation you have almost no sympathy with? A girl I knew from high school burglarized a house for drug money. Got caught. And was sentenced to pay restitution at a low amount over the course of several years. One day she started posting on Facebook begging people for money or she would go to jail, saying the judge had decided to make her pay the rest of the amount in full right then. When I checked the court documents, it turned out she had been telling the court she couldn't afford the payments. And when her victim checked on Miss Burglar's social media, she was posting about getting her hair and nails done and a short cruise she had recently taken. And the victim lodged a complaint with the court. Posting about that part in the comments got me blocked, but I think a few people got their money back from her stupid GoFundMe. I had no chill and no sympathy for the crap she pulled, and I still don't. ETA. She raised the remaining money she owed from friends and family, so she got off scot-free with a pity story. I work a lot with families from diverse socioeconomic backgrounds. I try to show and embody as much empathy as I can. BC, my parents were once in really tight places too. But it fucking drives me insane when a parent has money for weed and cigarettes but their child has no food after school or clean diapers. I really struggle with the idea that people are that selfish. Your kid doesn't deserve to wear diapers 12 to 14 hours at a time so you can get high. Had a friend whose boyfriend cheated on her like 5 times in 2 years. Always calling me at 3 a.m. crying, calling him names, and saying she is dumping him. She ended up marrying him, and the first phone call I got I hung up. You married the fool, you deal with it and quit waking me up. Driving drunk. Actually zero sympathy with. One of my now former friends said that driving drunk is his right. He went berserk when he was charged with a DUI. He said that he went to jail because he was using his freedom wrong. No, dumbass. It's because you were putting others' lives in danger. I grew up with an alcoholic father who drove impaired 90% of the time. He almost got us killed more times than I can count. No sympathy. He's the reason why I only drink 1 or 2 drinks maybe once a year. People who text and drive. Because of someone who did just that. I lost a family member who should still be alive right now. Because of the person who texted while driving. My grandpa died. He should still be here. He should have seen me learn to drive. Go on a first date. Attend school dances. Graduate high school. And witness me turn 21. But that never happened because someone thought their phone was more important than the people around them on the road. I miss him every day, and soon it'll be 9 years since he passed. My sister-in-law has walked out of half a dozen jobs in as many months and now is having trouble getting hired. I used to prepare her resume for her. But I'm not anymore. I can't polish a turd. Which subject at school proved the most meaningless to your current life today? All I learned from our story time with a German language teacher was a couple of German phrases. Plus the fact that apparently German kids are pretty tough. She had an illustrated children's book and read a story to us about an imp who'd run around with scissors to cut off the thumbs of children would refuse to grow up. In my mind I can still see how weird that imp looked. I had a class senior year called Lifetime Fitness. All we did every day is go to the mall and walk around, and then when the final exam came, we had to make a kite, and if it flew, we passed. Lol. Square dancing. DARE. Lot of people in here not realizing that not every last thing taught in school is meant to be directly applicable to your future life. At early levels it's about exposing you to as much as possible so that you're well-rounded, and also to allow you find the areas that do interest you and lead you down your future path. If you had a class and didn't like it, it was useful in that you learned early that that was not a path for you. Subscribe, my brothers.